Hey and welcome back! Yesterday's update brought two new Subarus into the game, and I think this now marks the point of content completion for DiRT 2.0. Going forward, my suspicion is that there will be no more content in the form of more locations or more cars. We might see some patches, some bug fixes, but I think the content is now completed. And with that out of the way, I thought it might be time to do one of the most popular classes in the game justice in doing a performance ranking of the now 5-car strong Group A class. As before, the method is not top best time, but averaging out the times and taking statistics. Every car gets 10 shakedown runs, of which the fastest and the 2 slowest will be cut away, and the rest, making 7 times, will be put into statistic averages to get an average speed value and a standard deviation value to judge a car's ease of drive. To make this video not visually repeat itself with some performance rankings I did before, I picked a different stage, this time in Greece. The upper part, the shakedown area of the long downhill stage, Antonou Ferni, I can't pronounce it, I won't try it. It also offers a nice variety in corner types and challenges put to the car, including fast turns, slow turns, high-speed braking, long acceleration, high-speed corners, etc. So the results should speak as general as before. Important thing to note here is that I don't drive these cars in the quickest way you could drive them, given that this is a video game, but in the way that they were driven in real life. Which means my wheel adjusts automatically to whatever wheel rotation the real car had, as well as my transmission adjusts automatically to whatever transmission the real car had. This is important here because especially the Mitsubishi had sequential gears in real life, so I drove it with pedal shifts and I drove the other 4 with my 8 shifter. Just to make you aware of that, if you would drive them all with pedal shifts, if you would drive them all with a set wheel rotation, or if you would drive them all in bonnet cam and all of the aforementioned, you might get different results. Just be aware of that. Speaking of results, here's a spreadsheet. Actually, it's not surprising to see this outcome. The clear winner in terms of speed is the most modern of the Group A cars and the only one with sequential gearbox. So it was quicker than the others. That I expected that from this car. In terms of speed, on the 2nd and 3rd place you will find the Lancia Delta Integral and the Subaru Impreza, which pretty much are tied on their places. So they are pretty much equal. They are also equal in terms of controllability. There is even less difference in that in the standard deviation value of their times, so they both are easy to control and reasonably fast. What actually surprises, or let's start with the first one, what doesn't surprise is that the Legacy is slower than the Impreza, because well, they were made by the same company and one came after the other. You would expect that the newer car is quicker, especially if it was built by the same Group A route, and it seems to be. But the Legacy is not really uncompetitive with this timing, just that it is much harder to compete. Who really looks to be uncompetitive is the Ford Escort in this graph, because its average time is almost a second slower than even the Legacy. And bear in mind, a second here in the average time means a lot. That means that on the shakedown area there was already a second downfall on the Escort. The shakedown area normally makes up about an eighth of the whole stage. So if you would drive the whole stage and would compete against yourself as the driver, you would probably make an 8-second faster time in the Legacy than the Escort, and even a 16-second faster time in the Lancer compared to the Escort. What really hinders the Escort, in my opinion, is the gearbox. It has 7 gears for some reason, and that is way too much. You're always about shifting about your gears. Shifting up, shifting down. Never really arriving in a gear to utilize it properly. But credit where credit is due, it is the most controllable car. It got the smallest standard deviation. The times were all very consistently slow. The next two inconsistency I already covered. The Impreza and Delta are pretty much the same. And then comes the Lancer, and last in controllability is the new Subaru Legacy, which I also can somewhat explain. First of all, it got a big noticeable turbo lag, not as big as the Group B cars, but still noticeable. You might find yourself in some corners where you have to clutch kick to get the car going again, because the first band of the ref is not really producing a lot of turbo pressure. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I put a link to my advanced driving guide in the upper right corner. The second thing that hampers the Legacy is its huge wheel rotation, in my opinion. At some points I felt like I'm driving a delivery van or a truck, a semi-truck. I don't know, you just have to turn the wheel a lot to turn the actual wheels on the road and get the car moving. In much contrast to the Lancer, which has a very similar steering to the 2000 cubic class or the R5 class, with very little input and being very controllable in that way. So in total I would say, if you really want to win, take the Lancer. If you want to drive Group A cars and have fun, take the Impreza or the Delta. And if you want to challenge and still have fun, take the Legacy. And probably never take the Escort for anything. So upcoming, I do plan to do a similar thing for the 2000 cubic class, but that will take some time because there are a lot of cars in that vehicle class. But let me know in the comments if you are particularly keen on some other class to be covered in this way, to compare it statistically, which cars have inherent downfalls or advantages over each other. I also plan to upload some of the Colin McGrath challenges that were introduced now in the Flatout pack. Keep an eye out for those if you want to know what is necessary to complete them on high difficulties. So that's it. I wish you a nice day, stay healthy, and until next time, cheers!